So today, and in the past few days, I've learned to be vulnerable, and I want to share with you my story and where I am today and why um, those events that happened to me in the past brought to where I am today. Um, those events that caused pain to me have now are now bringing me pleasure because I found my purpose and I found what my goal in life is, and I have plans to accomplish this and um, to make it happen and to make a massive change, and it's all because of people that have hurt me in the past and myself that had hurt me in the past through my actions or inactions. So I forgive them and I forgive myself to have made those mistakes because they were important in the past to bring me where I am today. So when I was a kid, I was not growing as fast as the other kids, and I was let's say in the first of class. I asked a lot of questions to the teachers because I was extremely curious. And what if that happens? What if always been like this? So I was bullied at school. I was bullied through recreation because I was not as tall as the other kids, and they found that I was an easy target. So I had rough years in middle school. Recreation was involved a lot of fighting and defending myself, and then let's say the teachers could come and we're just playing. I would never snitch on other people's, and I've learned not to be a snitch and stand up for myself. But I was hurt, and one time I was walking back from school, and I was let's say bullied by a guy that was in my class, which much bigger than me, and luckily my friends were around, and they grabbed him to the floor and told me to kick him, and I did kick him with winter boots on the face, and got in trouble with the police from that. After they got out of it through crying, but I stood strong and said, well, I defended myself, and I think that's stopped from there on. Then I was bullied when I got to high school. My first day, I loved yellow on that when I was younger. I went to high school on my first day with yellow jeans and a black and yellow t-shirt, and I had a black and yellow backpack. Let's say I looked like a bit like a bee, and that got me 3 years of bullying in the school bus. And I had a friend who would let's say we were friends out of school. We were friends in the bus until the bullies would get on, and then he would get on their side, which was pretty hurtful. Forgive him now, and I forgive them because that's brought me where I am today. And then after high school, started growing, and what's funny is that one of those bullies in the school bus, I saw him at I was with one of my friends, and we were at the grocery getting stuff for a barbecue, and this guy comes talk with us, and I don't remember who's that guy, and I asked my friend, and it's one of the bullies that was in that bus. He hadn't grown. He was he became pretty large and not too tall. So yeah, kids can be mean with each other, and I am glad I got through this, and I did not hurt myself when I was younger, because I add value. I was a smart kid. I was never first of class because I never really studied, was not really excited about school, was not learning fast enough. So I learned through books and through reading and through experiences and trying through playing a lot. I made the after during high school having been bullied for years in the school bus when I was in last year of high school, I did bully myself. A kid in the school bus, and it was just to make a girl I found cute in the bus laugh. So I'm very sorry. I think I already told you, but I'm very sorry about this, Martin. Anyways, so yeah, I'm not better than the other one. I made a big mistake. And then I got to college and did some classes and became a bit of a bum. Smoked a lot of weed and didn't attend my classes. I was bored and I didn't know what I would do in my life. And then I quit for my classes and failed pretty hard because I quit after I could cancel. And then I started Kung Fu and took my life in control. I stopped smoking weed, and then funny is I went to I was studying to become a police officer. I enjoyed it at first, and then quickly realized that was not for me. I don't like structure that much, and I don't like to control other people. So I quit that, and then did construction for a year because I was waiting to get on board for firefighter school, and I was too late to get in. So 1 year of construction. Then I went to firefighters academy, where I made some good friends, and let's say I was able to defend myself then, but I was still an extremely curious student. I was asking questions all the time and made the class last longer. So my class, my teammates, classmates asked me to limit to 3 questions per class because I was asking too many. always been curious like this, and what if this happens? And anyways, I graduated with extremely good scores. I thought that was my place and career. So as a firefighter, where I can help and give to as many people as I can and save people's lives, and I've never been afraid of danger. That's really not a problem for me. I'm not afraid of death or extreme experiences. But if you learn to manage risk, and that's what we did at Firefighters Academy. If you manage risk and you work as a group, you can go through extremely painful situations for other people. So that was my place at that time. And then when I started my career, well, there's a box around firefighters, and it's a very close group. You have to fit the model, and of course I'm different. I'm curious, and I like to question, and let's say question authority to understand why it's like this. And because it's a very hierarchic system, I didn't fit in completely, even though I loved it, and I was talking about it, and I was extremely proud to be a firefighter and help others. It's let's say they are having fun with recruits, and sometimes it gets a bit mean. So I was bullied as firefighter a lot in the first few years, and I did defend myself, but I did take it as it's funny. It's just a part of the process, but at some point it got painful, and lasted for a few years, and until it was I was at my place. When my captain retired, I was and I had started doing fire investigations, where I felt like this is really my place. I am extremely curious, and I get to be in control of what I do. I run the investigation, and I go interview the police and the people on the scene, and do to find the cause of the fire. That was good for me, and made me appreciate working like this, and made me want to learn new skills. And this is why this is not why, but this is why I started taking law classes at university while I was working, and I really enjoyed that, and really enjoyed working with my mind. But then it got extremely hard at the station. We had a new captain who was he was good and very, very strict, and as I don't fit in the box, I wasn't getting involved in the practices we were doing. And because I questioned him, and I was always being a bit of a clown and having fun, but I think this this leader be there and being negative, and let's say it was always about Um, anyways, the environment became very negative, and then the firefighters I was working with got leaded into that, and became an extremely negative environment. And then started everything I was doing was not right, on the scenes, and even at the fire station, because instead of joining the group for um, let's say to do watch hockey after dinner, I would be reading books or studying for my law classes, uh, while we had waiting for an emergency to happen. um, I kind of did not fit where I was, and then it started to be. I was told I did not fit and that I should not be there, and um, so yeah, I was bullied again, and I just could I I didn't want to come work anymore, even though I had for a few years like loved the job. Now I was not able to come. I could not sleep anymore. I always had problems sleeping, which I am fixing now. I I could yeah, I couldn't sleep anymore. I I really thought of taking my life, because I was told, and I felt like I could not do anything right. Um, I, I had some support for from one of my coworkers, uh, but yeah, this negative environment literally broke me, and so I took a year off to go study at law school full time. Um, I took a off year. Now I realize that it was clearly medical. I should have been paid to take that year off. Anyways, um, so I went to law school and enjoyed it at first, but um, law is in the box as well, and you have to think in the box. And because I think outside the box so much, that was not my place. I was extremely lucky to have a great teacher from business school come and do a presentation during a dinner for um, so there was a lawyer who specialized on internet businesses, and a teacher from business school that came talk about e-commerce. And I really enjoyed it, and I had just started in e-commerce for fun. I really enjoyed that, and I asked that teacher, "Can I join your classes at business school? I really want to learn." And he said yes. So I had I went to a few classes for it. It was business ideation and creation, and it just opened my mind and made me realize what was my purpose, and what I love is being an entrepreneur and coming up with those very creative and genius ideas that will bring massive change. So that was it for me. Then I got invited by a friend who, let's say, did not act as a friend later on, but I forgive him. I learned a lot from those experiences. So I was invited to work with, and it's my fault from what happened. So I'll explain it. So I was invited. He was consulting for First Nations in Manitoba, in Canada. So for Aboriginals. I was invited to come as an investor, and I um, put a lot of money aside while I was working as a firefighter, and invested in, um, let's say, the bank investments in their portfolio that they were recommending me were extremely poor returns, even though I was taking risk because they were stocks. So they have you charge, they charge you to manage it, and you make extremely poor returns. And then money got frozen. Anyways, um, I knew what was coming, and it should have been extremely good returns for me, but like transferring money from another bank account took 2.5 months, and they didn't even know. Both banks said they didn't have my money. Anyways, from investments I wanted to make, so I instead I put it in medical marijuana, where I lost a lot during the year. So I had that money in stocks for a year. I lost 40 to 60% on both those stocks during the year, and then it just boomed. Sold one for 360% return, so in a year, and the other one I sold a month too early. I made the mistake of listening to my dad, who's a good business lawyer. Problem is, he's not good at stock investing. He had lost a lot of money on that before, and when I had made 20% return, it was like, that's extremely good, you should sell right now. And I put it in real estate instead, on a deal that, anyways, let's say I lost more than those returns on the deal that turns out, but that's the learning experience. Anyway, sold for 20%, and I think a month and a half after, it was at 300% return, and I had quite a bit of money on that. Anyways, so while I was working with First Nations, I wanted to help so much, and took massive projects on my shoulders instead of sharing it, and let's do it together, and I'll act as a consultant. I acted as the businessman was coming and taking everything on myself. Now, I wasn't rich yet, and I did have money to invest, so I paid the consultants. I paid to get business plans done, and I paid to get, and was thinking about everything all the time, and but didn't manage the team well enough. Well, I didn't manage it at all. I was just like, okay, you have to do this, and we'll talk next week. And let my consultants do all the contacts, so they ended up stealing all the work I did for months, which I forgive them, because it was my mistake to not make it about the business, and letting them do all the work of communicating. So they made it seem like they had done everything while I did all the work in the back end. So good learning opportunity, and I had some. At the same time, I was learning about real estate and getting coaches and fairly expensive coaches and mentors. Um, and then move and work with other First Nations that uh, made a massive economic move on their land, which is great. We'll have families that were living in poverty will now be able to um, live with a large amount of money in their bank account for the rest of their lives. So anyways, I personally ran out of money. I had to come back here home. Um, so I started investing in real estate actively. Bought two multi-units through creative financing. Um, and then I felt like that was not big enough for me. I dream big all the time, and I want to make a massive change. So I kind of walked out of this. Got a new mentor, which I didn't really need. I just wanted, I don't know. I'm a bit of a seminar. I don't know how you call this. I do a lot of seminars, and I learned a lot. I love learning, and I love putting stuff in there. I love learning from the best. So yeah, I invested heavily into my coaching and mentors. Within 2 years, I'm pretty sure I spent over 150K on learning from people that are doing, instead of teachers that might not have the experience. So that's one of the best investment I've made is through mentors and coaches, and I'm not the best student, as I always question, and I make my own mind. So I could have made a lot of money really fast if I just had followed their plan. Yet I prefer to make my own and take what is important for me and leave out the rest. So I'm here today. I've met so many people. I did so much networking and seminars, and now know people around the world. I'm really happy with what is coming, and we've been working for months on this philanthropic venture capital fund. I'm happy. I've been bullied so much, because it made me who I am today, and now I have ideas that will change the world, and that we can help other people that want to change the world, through helping them with their business, through everything I learned, through the events that happened to me. I can share my mistakes, and have them not repeat them. I can share my passion about entrepreneurship and how it changed my life with people that so that they don't stay employees all their lives, and they use their passion and their purpose to make a big difference in the world. So this is where I am, and this is how I come from wanting to kill myself, to now want to, and have my focus as to help as many entrepreneurs in the world to create massive positive changes to the economy of this world, and to the create economic development in rural areas and third world countries, and with First Nations, Aboriginals, and places where there's not much hope. We can bring hope. We can sit down and see what are the resources and what are the passions of people there. What could they do as a business to make a big change and become wealthy and successful, and be able to put back money into the economy and grow those places. It is possible. It is possible if we act together as a tribe. If we humans work in the same line and have the same target of making massive difference, we can succeed. Just contact me if you want to get involved. I was afraid to ask for help because I've been bullied. I wanted to prove that I can do everything by myself. Well, it created that I lost a bunch of money in business, and I invested a lot of time in business, hundreds of hours per week, to end up with my work stolen. If you've read Napoleon Hill and say, those who think govern those that labor, well, let's say I was thinking and laboring, and then just people surfed on that wave and took everything. So that was the mistake. I should focus on thinking and getting the contracts and everything set up and managing the team right, so that there's a good distinction on thinking and laboring. Yeah, so this is all stuff I learned, and this is all stuff I want to share with people like you. So contact me if you want to make a massive change in the world, either through investing or you want to do the actual work as an entrepreneur. We will work together and we will make a massive change. I will open my huge network I've created in the mastermind that I'm around. We will sit down and share ideas, and there's a problem, what can we find as a solution? This is my superpower, is thinking of solutions to problems. I have like 20 business ideas every day, and I cannot put them on paper.